Good day everyone. So in this video, this is the continuation of our chapter 8 which entitled Probation. So we will now move on to the probation law proper. Okay? So what are the basic elements of probation? So number one element of probation is suspension of sentence. Okay? Probation po, there will be a suspension or temporary suspension of the sentence. And then, a period of trial for the offender in the community. Okay? So, the offender will remain in the community, which wherein doon po niya i-serve yung kanyang sentence. And then, the offender's observance of the law and the adherence to the condition imposed by the court. So, there will be some of the conditions and limitations na i-impose po ng court doon sa offender wherein yun pang i-observe na kung yun ba ay fina-follow ba nung offender or hindi. And then, while he was in the community, he will be under the supervision of a probation officer. Okay? And what are the essential elements of probation? Number one, post-sentence investigation report, which will serve as the informational basis of the court's decision to grant or deny probation. Meron po tayong tinatawag na PSIR or Post-Sentence Investigation Report na magiging basis po ito kung i-grant po ba or hindi ang probation. And then, conditional suspension of execution of sentence by the court. So, maaari pong masuspend ang sentence nung offender. And then, conditions of probation imposed by the court. Yun nga po, kagaya ng elements kanina na magkakaroon po ng condition wherein kailangan po itong sundin nung offender. Okay? Ang purpose po ng mga condition na yun is to protect the public safety and also to foster the rehabilitation and reformation of the probationer. Later on, we will discuss ano ba yung mga iba't ibang conditions na kailangang sundin nung probationer. Okay? And then there will be a supervision, guidance, and assistance of the offender by the probation officer. So let's move on to the petition for probation. Paano po ba yung application? Paano po ba yung pagpipetition? Okay, what are procedures? Okay? Submission of probation. So ito po, the petition for probation may be filed by a petitioner directly to the court who exercises jurisdiction over his case. So, ibig sabihin po niyan, yung petitioner mismo or yung nag-a-apply sa probation ay pwede po kaagad magdirektang mag-apply doon sa court wherein yung court po na yun ang may hawak ng kanyang kaso nung siya pa lang ay ina-under ng trial. So, take note po ang pag-a-applyan po ng probation at ang mag-grant po ng probation ay the same sa court na may hawak ng kaso nung petitioner. Okay? To the court that exercises jurisdiction over his case. Next, what is the time for filing a petition? So, a petition for probation may be filed by the petitioner with the court that tried and sentenced him within a period of 15 days. Okay, so take note, within the period of 15 days, dapat makapag-submit na ng petition yung petitioner doon sa court. So, pagka 16th day na po yan, di na po yun tatanggapin. So, dapat within 15 days. So, pwede pong pang 11 days, pang 12 days, and so on. Form of petition. Okay, form of petition must be prescribed by the Supreme Court. So, manggagaling po yan sa Supreme Court. Ililay down po ng Supreme Court. Okay? Effect of filing petition. Okay, ano po ang effect pag nag-file ka na po ng petition mo? The court may, upon filing of a petition, suspend the execution of sentence. So, possibly, pwede na po kaagad masuspend ang sentence nung petitioner upon filing of the petition. Next, we have the post-sentence investigation. So, ano bang preliminary procedures when they are conducting post-sentence investigation? Okay? The provincial or city probation officer, upon receipt of the order of the court, shall assign to the same to a probation officer to conduct a pre-sentence investigation. Okay? Ibig sabihin po niyan, bago pa lang po mabigyan ng sentensya, yung offender, magkakandak na po ng pre-sentence investigation, yung probation officer. Okay? Whether po kasi kung siya po ay qualified po ba or hindi for probation. Okay? Post-sentence investigation report. So, ngayon po dyan, upon termination of the post-sentence investigation, the probation officer shall submit a post-sentence report to the court within 60 days upon the receipt of the order. Okay, so pagkatapos po niyang mag-conduct ng pre-sentence, okay, so dapat po submit po ng probation officer yung post-sentence report doon sa korte within a period of 60 days. Okay, ano ba ang purpose ng PSIR or post-sentence investigation report? Okay? The purpose of this report is to assist the court in determining whether or not the end of the justice and the best interest of the public, as well as that of the petitioner, will be served by granting probation. Okay, so sa madaling salita po, ang purpose po talaga ng PSIR ay doon po nila ibabase doon sa mga nakandak nilang pag-iimbestiga kung yung tao ba na yun ay talagang deserve na mabigyan ng probation at magiging best interest po yun ng public wherein hindi po sila mag-aalangan, hindi po magiging danger yung tao na yun sa society. Okay, kung igagrantan po siya ng probation. Okay? Ano ba ang content ng PSIR? Ano ba yung mga nilalaman? Okay, ito po yun. Yung magiging basis po nila, ito po yun. Number 1 is circumstances surrounding the offense of which the petitioner was convicted. Ano ba yung mga iba't ibang circumstances na nangyari or mga events na nangyari noong ginawa niya yung krimen? Napaka-harmful po ba yung circumstances na yon? Wherein possibly pagka nabigyan ba siya ng probation is ulitin ba niya yon? Okay, yun po yung mga isang question. Another po is psychosocial information regarding the petitioner. Ano po ba yung psychological? Okay, kumbaga yung behavior. Okay, behavior nung tao na yon. Ano ba yung socialization or yung social life ng tao na yon? So, syempre, nandoon din po yun sa PSIR. Another po is evaluation of the petitioner, suitability for probation, and his potential for future social adjustment and reintegration into the community. Okay? I-evaluate po nila yung petitioner kung siya ba talaga ay suitable na mabigyan ng probation at ano ba yung future, ano ba yung pwedeng mangyari sa kanya kung kaya ba niyang i-adjust yung self niya sa community kapag ka siya na po ay nandoon. Okay? And then, eto na po, recommendation to either grant the petition for probation and may include the program for supervision and suggested limitations and condition for probation or deny the petition for probation. So, sa madaling salita po, nakasaad na din po doon sa content ng PSIR kung igagrant ba or i-deny yung kanyang petition for probation, yung kanyang application for probation. Okay? So, who signs the report? Sino pong magsasign ng PSIR or the Post-Sentence Investigation Report? Okay? The report shall be signed by the investigating probation officer and approved by the head of the local probation officer. So, ibig sabihin po, yung mismo pong investigating officer or investigating probation officer po ang magsasign at i-approve po yan ng local probation officer. Head of local probation officer. Okay, so ngayon, sabihin na natin, na-grant na siya ng probation. Okay? Nature and effect of granting of probation. Okay? Probation is merely a privilege, and as such, it's granted rests solely upon the discretion of the court. Okay? Ito guys, take note probation is not a matter of right. Okay? But rather, it is a privilege. So, when we say privilege, hindi po lahat ay pwedeng mabigyan or mag-grant ng probation. Kumbaga, pili lamang po yung pwedeng mabigyan. And that is upon the discretion or decision of the court. Kasi ano guys, no, hindi po porket convicted ka na po ay, di ba, sabi din kanina, dapat convicted siya. So, hindi po lahat ng convicted with final judgment po ay qualified na po kaagad. Meron pa pong screening, meron pa pong mga evaluation na pagdadaanan ng petitioner bago po siya magrantan ng probation. And, to be specific po guys, pag sinabi po kasing probation, it is granted to those convicted of certain crimes wherein the sentence is not more than 6 years. Okay? So, sa madaling salita po, binibigyan lamang po ang probation yung mga merong sentensyang 6 years pababa or hindi po humihigit sa 6 na taon. Okay? So, take note po, it is a matter of privilege and not a matter of right. So, the grants of probation results in the release of petitioner subject to the terms and conditions by the court and to the supervision of a probation officer. Okay. Period of resolution of petition for probation. So, kailan po ba nga i-resolve yung petition ng petitioner? Okay? The court shall resolve a petition for probationer not later than 15 days for the receipt of the report from the probation officer. So, for example, natapos na ni investigating probation officer yung PSIR, okay, yung post-sentence investigation report. Pagka na-submit na po niyan, i-resolve po yung kanyang report not later than 15 days. Okay? Not later than 15 days. So, effectivity of probation order, okay, for example, granted na siya. Okay? A probation shall take effect upon its issuance. Kapag na-orderan ka na, nabigyan ka na ng order na ikaw ay mabibigyan na ng probation, so upon its issuance, doon sa probationer, kaagad-agad na pong magkukommence or mag-start yung probation period niya, yung probation program niya. So, take note, upon its issuance, wherein the probation will take effect or took effect. Finality of probation order. So, ito po guys, the order of the court granting or denying probation shall not be appealable. For example, hindi ka nagrantan. Example lang hindi ka nagrantan, hindi ka qualified. Pwede mo bang i-appeala yon? So, hindi po pwede. Okay, take note, hindi po pwedeng i-appeala kung sakali man pong disqualified yung petitioner. So, who can apply for probation? Ito po. Sino-sino po ba yung mga qualified para mag-apply sa probation? So, as a general rule, probation applies to all sentenced or convicted offenders, all first-time offenders convicted of crime punished by imprisonment of not more than 6 years. So, maximum of 6 years. Ma'am, paano po pag 6 years, 1 day, and 8 years? Hindi na po siya qualified. So, take note po para po sa mga first-time offender, okay, ibig sabihin po, first time niya lang po mag-commit ng crime. Okay? And, dapat po, ang kanya pong sentensya ay hindi po lalagpas sa 6 na taon. So, ibig sabihin, 6 years and below. Sino pa po ang pwedeng mag-apply? Any sentence offender, 18 years old and above. Okay? 18 years old and above, tapos po 6 years below ang kanyang sentence. Okay. So, sino naman po yung mga disqualified? Okay. Who are disqualified for applying for probation under Section 9 of PD 968? Okay? Siyempre naman po, those sentenced to serve a maximum term of imprisonment of more than 6 years. Kagad-agad po yan, disqualified na po yan. Diba nga, kakasabi lang na mga qualified lang po yung may mga not more than 6 years. So, ibig sabihin, pag more than 6 years, slash agad ang pangalan mo pag nag-a-apply ka. Okay? Note that 6 years maximum refers to the sentence actually imposed and not that prescribed by law for the offense committed. Okay? And also, ito pa po yung mga disqualified. Number 2 is those convicted of subversion or any other crimes against national security or public order. Okay? Nandun po sa revised penal code na yung mga iba't ibang crimes against national security and crimes against public order. So, andyan na po lahat. Pag national security po, we have treason, conspiracy, and proposal to commit treason, misprision of treason, espionage, inciting to war, or giving motives for reprisal, violation of neutrality, correspondence with hostile country, flight to enemy's country, piracy, and qualified piracy. National security po yun. But when we say public order, crimes against public order, yan na po yung mga rebellion, insurrection, conspiracy and proposal to commit rebellion, sedition, conspiracy to commit sedition, inciting to sedition, acts tending to prevent the meeting of assembly and similar bodies, disturbance of proceeding, direct assault, indirect assault, and coup d'etat. Okay? Yan po yung mga, pagka yan po ang mga nakumit na crime, slash na po kaagad, hindi ka po qualified for probation. You are disqualified. Another po na disqualified is those who have previously been convicted by final judgment of an offense punished by imprisonment of not less than 1 month and 1 day and or a fine of not less than 200 pesos. Ito po guys, pag previously convicted ka na po, okay, if 1 month, qualified po for probation. Yun po yung fine po niya is less than 200 pesos, so 199 and below. Pero po, pag 1 month and 1 day or more, yun na po yung disqualified for probation. Yun na po yung 200 pesos and above ang fine. So, ulitin ko lang po pag po ang na-previous ka na pong convicted, previously convicted ka na po ng ibang crime, pasok ka po, qualified ka pong mag-apply for probation kung less than 1 month ang sentence mo. Pero pag 1 month, 1 day and more, yun po yung mga disqualified. Okay? Another po na disqualification is those who have been once on probation under the provisions of PD 968 as amended. Ibig sabihin po niyan, those who have been once on probation, okay, means to say, ikaw na ay dating nabigyan ng probation. So, ano pong implication nun? Ang implication po niyan, pag once ka nang nabigyan ng probation, nakabalik ka ulit sa kulungan, nag-apply ka ulit for probation, disqualified ka na po. Kasi nga po, 'di ba? Ang ibig sabihin lang naman po nun, pagka once on probation ka na, nakabalik ka sa kulungan, either naka-violate ka ng mga conditions and limitations or ikaw po ay nag-commit ulit ng panibagong krimen. Kasi po guys, once you violated the conditions and terms or nag-commit ka ng panibagong crime, ikaw po ay ibabalik sa loob ng kulungan. You will be re-arrested and re-incarcerated. Okay? Accordingly, one who has been on probation only under the Child and Youth Welfare Code as amended and the Dangerous Drugs Code of 1972 as amended will not be disqualified. The reason from this is that the treatment given under those the latter is of different kind from that under PD 968 as amended. Okay, ito lang po guys pagka once on probation ka na po pero po ikaw ay youthful offender at saka po yung nakabiolate ka po ng Dangerous Drugs Code ng 1972, yun lang po yung mga hindi po disqualified kasi iba naman po yung treatment ng probation sa kanila. Okay? Another po na disqualification is those who are already serving sentence at the time of substantive provisions of the decree became applicable pursuant to Section 33 of PD 968 as amended by BP bilang 76 and PD 1990 October 5, 1985. Ito kasi guys, technically speaking, probation cannot cover the following. Okay, non-offenders, offenders not yet convicted, and convicted offenders but with a sentence exceed to 6 years. Okay. Ito po ang tanong. Are all convicted person who are not disqualified entitled to probation automatically? Okay? Lahat daw po ba ng convicted person na hindi po disqualified ay entitled na ba daw kaagad? Magagrantan na ba daw kaagad ng probation? Okay? Ang sagot po dyan is no. Okay? No, the court will not grant probation if it finds that, okay, the offender treated better in a mental institution or other places for correction. Okay? Pagka po mas na-evaluate po ng court natin na mas mabuti pong siya ay i-treat sa mga mental institution or sa mga ibang facility, mas better po na doon ka po ipunta kaysa ibalik ka po sa community. At pag na-evaluate po ng court that the offender is dangerous risk to the community, kapag po ikaw ay nakakapagbigay ng danger sa ating community. Kasi nga, 'di ba, kahit sabihin na natin na pasok ka, first time offender ka, tapos 6 years below yung sentence mo, okay? Hindi ka disqualified, pero hindi ka pwedeng mabigyan ng probation kasi nga dangerous ka sa community. Pwede kang magbigay ng harm or ng risk sa community. So, still, hindi ka pa rin pwedeng mabigyan ng probation. Okay? The offense is grievous in the eyes of the community. So, grabe yung nagawa niyang. Okay? When and where to file petition for probation. Ayan, parang naulit po kanina. Saan at kailan po magpa-file ng petition for probation? Saan po mag-a-apply? Kailan? Okay? The application for probation shall be filed with the court that tried and sentenced the offender. Yung korte pong na may hawak ng kanyang kaso at nagbigay ng kanyang sentensya sa kanya, doon ka din po mag-a-apply ng probation. At kailan ka pa mag-a-apply? Anytime before the imprisonment start. bago mo po i-serve yung sentence mo, dapat nakapag-apply ka na for probation. Okay? Kaya nga po kanina, no, isa sa disqualification po ay already serving sentence. Isa po yun sa disqualification. Kasi po dapat nakapag-file ka na before pa po mag-start yung pagsaserve mo sa sentence mo. Okay? So next, ano ba ang procedures in applying for probation? Ito po, the offender or his counsel files a petition with the convicting court within 15 days from promulgation of judgment. So guys, for example, ikaw ay nabigyan ng final judgment noong January 1. Okay? January 1, 2020. Ikaw ay convicted by final judgment. Ngayon po, kailangan mo pong, bago mo po i-serve yung sentence mo, dapat po within 15 days, makapag-file ka na ng petition doon sa court. So, ibig sabihin, January 1 to January 15, yung mga days po na yon, makapag-file ka na po ng petition. Okay? And then, pagkatapos mong mag-file, the court will determine convict qualification and notifies the prosecutor of the filing of the petition. Okay, so yan po, determine po nila, alamin po nila kung ikaw ba ay qualified na mag-apply sa probation, and then, ino-notify po yung mga prosecutor doon sa pag-file mo ng petition. Okay, and then, pagkatapos po nyan, the prosecutor submits his comment on such application within 10 days from the receipt of the notification. So, for example, yung court po, ninotify na po si prosecutor. So, ngayon, re-reviewin niya yung application mo. Within 10 days, diba, 10 days niyang i-review yun, dapat po makapagbigay na po siya ng comment doon sa applications mo. Kasi nga po, diba, that is your evaluation kung ikaw ba ay i-deny or i-grant ng probation. After po nun, if the petitioner is qualified, his application is referred to the probation officer for PSI or post-sentence investigation. So, ito na po yung kanina, diba? Sabi natin kapag ka nakapag-apply na siya, and then, nakapag-comment na yung prosecutor, ngayon, yung prosecutor, ibibigay na ngayon yung papel mo, yung petition mo sa probation officer. Para po mag-conduct na po si probation officer ng PSI or post-sentence investigation. Okay, so ngayon naman, sabihin natin, nagkakandak na siya ng investigation. Kailangan pong i-submit ni probation officer doon sa court within 60 days yung tinatawag nating PSIR or Post-Sentence Investigation Report. Ayan na po. And then, pagkatapos po niyan, pending investigation and resolution, accused may be temporarily released if there is already a bail, then on same bail. Okay? Sabi din kanina, di ba, effect po ng petition is, pwede pong masuspend na po kaagad yung kanyang sentence. Kaya nga po guys, kapag po pending po yung petitioner natin, pwede po siyang magkaroon ng temporary release. And then after po nyan, ayan, pwede na pong mag-decide yung court kung i-grant ka or i-deny yung probation mo for a period of within 15 days kapag nakuha na po nila yung post-sentence investigation report. Okay, so yun po yung procedure. So take note, if the accused is convicted and sentenced to multiple penalties, the periods are not added up. Only the maximum shall be considered. So, once probation period is terminated, the accused is restored to all his civil rights, lost or suspended. Okay, another question. Can the offender be released while his application for probation is pending? Okay. Ito na po yung tanong kanina, di ba? Yung offender daw po bang nag-a-apply for probation, pwede daw po bang ma-release? Kaya ang sagot po dyan is yes. Depende po yan sa discretion ng court. Okay? Pwede pong dahil sa same bond or another bond, pag nagpiyansa po, pwede din po yon. And then, in the custody of the responsible member of the community, if unable to file a bond, kagaya po ng recognizance, there will be someone na kukuha ng custody mo, which is siya yung magiging responsible sa custody mo. Ano po yung mga terms and condition? Ito na po guys. Sabihin na natin, nabigyan ka ng probation. So ngayon, makakapunta ka na ngayon sa community, makakabalik ka na doon. So ano ba yung mga terms and conditions na kailangan mong sundin? Okay? Kapag ikaw ay nasa program na ng probation. At ano ba yung consequences kapag ka na-violate mo ito? This is under Section 10 of PD 960. Okay? Dalawa po kasi yan. We have mandatory conditions and optional. Okay? Take note guys. We have mandatory conditions and optional condition or discretionary condition. Ito po guys, dalawa po ang mandatory. So pag sabing mandatory, required ka talaga dyan. It's a must na kailangan mong gawin. Ano po yon? Yung dalawang yon is, probation order shall require the probationer to present himself to the probation office concerned for supervision within 72 hours from the receipt of the said order. So, sa madaling salita, pagka for example, January 20, nagrantan ka na ng probation, meron ng receipt, meron ng order na ikaw ay granted. So, within 72 hours, okay, within 72 hours, so ibig sabihin yun, ilang araw yun? Within 3 days, dapat ikaw ay makapag-report sa probation office na may concern sa kustodiya mo, na may concern sa supervision mo. Okay? Kumbaga, ikaw ay parang magko-courtesy call sa kanila. Okay? And then, another po na mandatory condition is to report to the probation officer at least once a month during the period of probation. So, ibig sabihin, nagrantan ka ng January 20, susunod po sa February, dapat mag-meet po kayo once nung probation officer mo. Kumbaga, reporting, kakamustahin ka niya, o kamusta ang buong buwan mo, ano ba yung mga ginawa mo, nakapaghanap ka ba ng trabaho mo, musta ang kapamilya mo, and so on. Okay. Mandatory po yan, ibig sabihin, that is required na gawin mo. And we have also other conditions of probation. We have optional or discretionary conditions. The probation order may also require the probationer in appropriate cases. Ito po guys, dapat po ikaw ay makipag-cooperate sa program ng supervision. Okay, so kailangan po ng cooperation mo. Okay, another po is meet his family responsibilities. Okay, so dapat kailangan mo pong gawin at ibigay yung mga responsibilidad mo sa pamilya mo. Okay, another is devote himself to a specific employment and not to change said employment without prior written approval of the probation officer. So, dapat po, pagka nabigyan ka na po ng probation program mo, kailangan po maghanap ng trabaho. So, ngayon, pag nakapaghanap ka ng trabaho mo, ino-notify mo si probation officer mo, sir, nakapag-apply po ako ng ganitong trabaho. So, ngayon, for example, gusto mong maghanap ng bagong trabaho, so, bago ka po maghanap ng bagong trabaho, kailangan mo po ulit i-notify kay probation officer. Bago ka maghanap, dapat po i-approve mo na yan ng probation officer. Another po na na condition ng probation is undergo medical, psychological, or psychiatric examination and treatment or either remain in a specific institution when required for that purpose. For example, psychiatric examination, they found out na medyo talagang there's something with your psychiatric condition, then pagka sinabi nila na kailangan mong mag-stay sa mental institution for 6 months, then you need to. Kailangan mong sundin yon. Okay? Another po is comply with the program of payment of civil liability to the victim of his ears when required under the decision of the trial court. So, kailangan mo pa rin pong bayaran yung mga civil liability mo doon sa victim. Kung wala na po yung victim, doon po sa kanyang mga tagapagmana. Another po na condition po ng probation is to pursue a prescribed secular study or vocational training. If possible po, no, you need to enroll for secular study or vocational study. Okay? Attend or reside in facility established for institution for recreation of person under probation. Meron din po kasi guys yung mga iba't ibang establishment na wherein doon po talaga nakabase yung mga probationer, okay? Gagawa po ng mga recreation activities, kagaya po ng mga Zumba, sasali po sila sa mga contest ng mga sports, contest ng mga bands, ng mga sayaw, and so on, which is na-design talaga para sa mga person na under ng probation program. Okay? Ito pa po, refrain from visiting houses of ill repute. So, syempre naman po, bawal pong pumunta sa mga bar house, sa mga inuman, sa mga house of vices, sa mga bisyo-bisyo, okay, bawal din po yun. Abstain from drinking intoxicating beverages to excess. Bawal pong magpakalasing. Okay? Permit the probation officer or authorized social worker to visit his home and place of work. Okay, dapat po, hayaan mo lang po na i-visit ka nung probation officer mo or yung social worker na i-visit yung bahay mo or yung place ng trabaho mo. Another po is place of premises approved by the court and not to change his residence without prior written approval. So, ibig sabihin po niyan is kung ano po yung inaprubahan na titirhan mo, doon ka lamang po. Pero pag gusto mo pong lumipat ng bahay, kailangan po dapat meron pong written approval ng court. Okay? Satisfy any other condition related to the rehabilitation of the probationer and not unduly restrictive of his liberty or incompatible with his freedom or conscience. Okay? So, yun po yung mga iba't ibang conditions ng probation. So, ngayon naman po, let's move on to supervision of probation. So, ano po ba ang purpose ng supervision? Actually, supervision is the relationship between probationer and the probation officer. Okay? Ang purpose po niyan is to carry out the conditions set forth in the probation order. Okay? Bakit kailangan pang i-supervise? Nasa community na nga. Marami naman pwedeng tumingin sa kanya. Siyempre naman, guys, kaya po sinusupervise yung probationer para po malaman po natin kung sinusunod ba talaga niya yung mga kondisyon na ibinigay ng korte. Another po is to ascertain whether the probationer is following the said condition to bring about the rehabilitation and his reintegration in the community. Kung meron ba talagang pinagbago, bumait ba siya, or mas naging worse ba siya, okay? So, yun po yung mga i-monitor at supervise ng probation officer. What happens? Ito na po. What happens to a probationer if conditions of probation are violated? Okay, ano pong mangyayari sa probationer kapag po violate niya ang condition ng probation? Okay? The probation officer investigate investigates the alleged violation. Ano ba yung violation na yon? So, kailangan po yan i-imbestiga ng probation officer na may hawak ng kanyang supervision. And then, pag na-establish na po kung ano po yung violation na yon, there should be a report na isasubmit ng probation officer sa court. There can be modification of the condition of probation by the court depending on the nature and seriousness of the violation. So, ito kasi guys, pwede pong ma-modify or maiba yung mga condition. Depende po yun kung gaano po ka-serious yung violation na na-commit nung probationer. Okay? There is a possibility of arrest. So, take note there is a possibility of arrest including criminal prosecution of the probationer in the event of commission of another offense. So, take note, pag nag-commit ka po ng another offense habang ikaw ay nasa probation, there is a possibility that you will be re-arrested and re-incarcerated. And then, what are the two groups for revocation of probation? Kailan ba mare-revoke ang probation? Okay, ito po, pagka nag-failed kang mag-comply sa mga kondisyon. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo sinunod yung mga kondisyon na ibinigay ng court or another po na revocation ng probation po is kapag ka nag-commit ka ng ibang crime or offense. Modes of termination, ito po guys, kailan po pwedeng ma-terminate or matatapos yung probation? Ito po guys, the successful completion of program of probation. Pag natapos mo po yung probation program mo, matatapos na din po yung probation mo. Pwede din pong ma-revoke ang probation mo kapag ka namatay na po yung probationer. Siyempre, wala naman na pong ibang gagawa nun, kundi yung mismong probationer. Bawal naman po ang proxy. Okay? Ito po guys, submission of termination of report with 30 days before the terminating period. For example, matatapos na yung probation mo on December 2021. So, dapat 30 days bago December 31, 2021, kailangan po nakapag-submit na po ng termination report si probation officer. Legal effects of discharge. Ayan, probation. Ayan na po guys. Probation shall restore to him all his civil rights lost or suspended as a result of conviction. Guys, ito po no, pag natapos na po yung probation program mo, doon po talaga mabibigay yung restoration ng lahat ng mga karapatan mo. Okay? And then, shall fully discharge his liability for any fine imposed as to the offense for which the probation was granted. Siyempre naman po, mawa-wipe out na din po yung kanyang liabilities. Okay? And then, last topic na po natin sa chapter 8, ito na po yung mga probation forms natin. Ito po yung probation form number 1, yan na po yung PSIR. Okay, or worksheet, post-sentence investigation worksheet. Number 2, waiver, authorization. Number 3, yan na po yung PSIR. Number 1 po, yan po yung worksheet. Worksheet, yung kung saan po mag-work, yung probationer. Number 2, waiver. Number 3 is PSIR. Number 5, ito na po yung monthly caseload summary report. Ito po yung, di ba, mandatory po na condition is once po silang makikita nung probation officer. So, yun na po yung report. Monthly report. 7 po is request for outside travel. For example, pupunta po ng ibang bansa yung probationer. Meron po siyang a-applyan na probation form or if a file, which is the probation form number 7. Request for outside travel. And then, number 8 po, yan po yung violation report pag po meron pong na-violate na conditions yung probationer. And then, number 9 po is final report. Then, number 10 is other forms. So, yun na po yung buong content ng ating chapter 8. So, sobrang haba lang po ng chapter 8 natin, which is ang dami-dami pong terms na kailangan po nating i-retain sa ating mga mind. So, that's all for today. So, thank you and have a good day.